Hey everybody, I've got some exciting news. Wisconsin has got a brand new Warrior dealership. It's up in Marshfield and it's called Power Pack, and I will be there on Friday from noon till 6 o'clock. You guys want to talk about fishing? You want to see some great product? Come up and check us up at Power Pack in Marshfield. Looking forward to seeing you. Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's show. You know what? It's all about adapting to the surroundings. And everybody knows the last couple of years, we've had some thin ice. We get a lot of warm conditions, and all of a sudden we got to pull off the ice and wait for things to heal back up. But we're resurrecting that. What we're doing is we're running this huge airboat now. You know, I bought this thing probably about, 3 months ago, sold my small one, and had a ton of work done on it to make sure that it's really stable and can take pretty much any kind of conditions that we have to deal with, right?
Right, crossing the cracks on Winnebago, what have you. We're going to test around in the river today. And
we love running these river trips, you know, and the safest way to be able to deal with this river is obviously an airboat. Hey, Lance, you fish the river all fall. The walleyes are absolutely piled in here.
They've been stacked. A lot of small ones, a lot of good eaters. Just got to weed through them, but the fish have just been loaded up here. We're going to go out there and pound them. We got our buddy George out here with us today.
George. Hey, and hopefully we can keep George's foot dry today too, right?
Yeah, you know, at least we don't have salvage holes for him to step in.
Yep. Hey, everybody, hang on to your heinies. We got a lot coming up. You know, the big thing too about fishing the river here, so many walleyes come up in the fall, especially when you get some current. And we didn't have any current basically all summer long. Then all of a sudden we got some pretty good rain this fall, especially to the north of us. It just absolutely sucked these walleyes up in this river. They're from the mouth all the way past New London, almost all the way up to Shiocton. People ask you all the time, where's your favorite place to fish? There's so many great places, and I love experiencing new things. But coming to this river, this is my home right here. So hang on to your heinies. We're going to drill some holes. Hey, so we're going to start off jigging here, and there's not a ton of current we're at right here, and you always want that jig to slide down river. And what I mean by that is that what you do is you're pumping it soft, and when you want to walk it down river, you lift up real hard, fast on it, and let out about 10 inches of line, and you'll keep walking that jig down river. And a lot of times what you're going to end up seeing is all of a sudden you'll pump that jig, and it'll be in one position, and then all of a sudden you lift your rod up higher to get it up into that current more, and open. I keep my bail open almost all the time anyways with my finger on the line, and then slide that jig down. What happens is a lot of times the walleyes are looking at it and they won't hit it, then all of a sudden it slides past them, they reset up, they behind it again, and as soon as you pump it one or two times, so many times, that's when you get bit. I just got on a nice pod right here. There's a little bit of current, a little stronger right here. Small one right there. The one I had in the hole was a 14, 15 incher. This one I'm going to let go right there, but good way to start it off. You know, it's amazing on these walleyes, you know, where they're basically the way they'll set up. You know, the thing about fishing a river, obviously, is there's always that you got to watch that current, and it can change, especially years like this year, the last couple years. You get all these big warm spells, or rain, you know what, but it really is an awesome place to fish. You know, and I like it because there's not a ton of people up here. The accessibility, getting to some of these spots, you know, is really tough. I'm just a river guy, and it's always been my favorite place to fish. So really, it's one of them kind of things where, yeah, the fishing can be really good, but just being up here and experiencing what I experience is well worth it to me. So, all right, I'm going to drill some holes for these guys. Out of all the holes we drilled, there's a little drop right there, but there's also quite a bit of current right there. And being able to slip that jig down current is crucial. Like I said, you pump, you're in the same spot, you're lifting about 3 to 4 inches, and all of a sudden I keep my bail open and I let my finger up, and I open it up. As I pull it up, I open my finger up and I let out about 10, 12 inches of line. The jig repositions right there, and it's typically when you get bit about 60% of the time. Just moved to another hole, and I don't think it's a real big one, but yeah, chinned him underneath the chin right there. again, just slipping that current has been the key thing for sure. You know, it's cool to see this system that there's so many different year classes of walleyes in it. You know, again, that one's probably an 11, 12 incher. So another year, that'll be a good eater right there. Another one, boys.
So far, so good. Just searching, just came across a pot of fish on the inside here, a little shallower water. I would assume as the day goes on, they'll be dropping in the deeper holes, but we'll comb these shallow flats and see what we come across here. Picked up a few small ones, 2 good eaters. Got the boys down here, let's see what happens.
Hey, I'll tell you what, I made my way back up here and back into this deep water, put on a shiver minnow, and they're just absolutely crushing that shiver minnow. Just giving it one pump and then it's working its way back through the current and they just grab right onto it. Hey, this week's tip of the week brought to you by our good friends up at Mike's Country Meats, the finest jerky on the planet. Hey, it's a pretty simple tip, but I'll tell you what, it's very effective. Obviously today we're fishing the river. And anytime we're fishing the river, I always want to drill my holes at an angle, the angle to which way the current is going. So what I'll do is, obviously the current's going down that way. I'll just take my drill and I'll angle it. The reason is you'll have a lot better feel on your when you're jigging your rod because your line's not constantly hitting the side of that hole like that. And the other part is, the most important part is, when you get fish on, obviously you got that current dragging them down, you'll be able to slide them right up and you'll lose a lot less fish. Hey, again, this week's tip of the week brought to you by our good friends up at Mike's Country Meats, the finest jerky on the planet. George, I'm gonna have you move this way. There you go, Scott, nice job.
Nice healthy river walleye.
We'll take that one. Good eater right there, 13 and a half, 14 incher. There we go. That's a good one right there. That's a good fish right there. You know, Lance was using a shiver minnow. He went down river a little ways, and typically I'm more of a, you know, jig and a minnow kind of guy. Today we're using the Google Eye, but so I went and I lost my minnow on the way back up to the airboat to check the spot back over that we were in just a little while ago, and I decided to put a shiver minnow on, and boy, that one just absolutely cracked that. There, George has got one. Holy moly, Georgie boy! GQ George has got one on. If anybody didn't know, George is a famous singer from the 70s.
It's from the 70s.
Go to a fresh hole. I'll tell you what, you get it down there, dig it once or twice, and whoop, slammed. Slam jam, ma'am. Small walleye. I don't care. As long as every 1 out of every 6 or 10 is a keeper. Got the airboat out, you know. I got to take you guys through the new airboat we have. It's a 20-footer, and definitely I spent a lot of money on this boat, I'll tell you that. Especially I bought it for, I thought it was going to be a good price on it. Thought it was good, and all of a sudden I started having a mechanic go through it, and before you know it, there's another 20,000, there's another 10,000, you know, just like anything else. You never know till you get into something what you're going to end up with. So, but we got her under control now and pretty happy with the way it looks, the way it's running, and obviously Lance and I are going to be running a lot of trips out of that airboat on the river, and if the lake gets bad, oh, there we go. Just that shiver minnow, just pounding that shiver minnow. This looks like a good fish. I want to see this one. There we go. There's a keeper. Yeah, that's a nice one right there. Just again, you know, the key to it is too, you know, I'm pumping it once or twice and then I'm just holding it, and what's happening is that shiver minnow is actually coming back towards me, gliding through the water column. I'm about a foot off the bottom, and they're just absolutely crushing that thing. You know, it definitely pays. You know, we come into a spot like this. This is the deep trough right here, and drill a ton of holes, because, you know, you'll catch 2 or 3, maybe 5 or 6 out of one hole, and it'll dry up. You know, they get acclimated on that, and then you just move to another hole, and almost every time you go to another hole, the minute you drop it down, boom, you get bit right there. Now look at that one. Now that one's got the treble hook in its mouth right there. And kind of interesting, the last 4 or 5 have all been at the back where it's coming forward like this. But I was watching Lance before, and he's holding it still a lot longer than what I was doing. And that's when that fish just come up, you know, vertical, and absolutely smoked that thing. It's a 3 fish limit on the Winnebago system, and I've already kept 2, so I'm gonna try to work for that third one to be a really good one. The thing for me is that I went with an airboat. I had a smaller airboat that I bought, and I used to just come up here with myself or a couple of friends and do it. So it works out great. So what we'll do is we're running anywhere from 6 to 12 people, and how we do it is we'll run 6 people up here and drop them off, and Lance or I will start setting everything up, get them ready to fish, and then we'll go back and get the next group. So there we go, another nice fish. You know, so we like to run about 12 people. And it's a little bit more expensive to fish up here just because, you know, there is a lot more going on, but it's definitely well worth it. And again, it's about the experience. If you love the river fish, like to catch a lot of walleyes, you know, you definitely want to give Lance a call.
Well, so we can see my bait. We got the current flowing downstream, and right now I'm about 2.5 feet back from the hole I'm jigging out of. And depending upon the water depth, like when I was in 13 feet, I only had to have a foot behind my main hole that I'm jigging out of. But now as you get deeper, obviously that current's going to take it down further, so you got to drill that hole further away from your hole.
There you go. You're getting bigger.
Yeah, getting bigger.
Yep, I'm going to bring that middle bucket so you don't have to get up all the time. Yeah, hold your line to the side. It looks like a decent fish.
Yeah, it does feel good, decent.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Real nice one. They'll take that one right there. Nice job.
Beautiful walleye.
Absolutely just smoked that.
On the shiver minnow.
Georgie,
Yeah, this is
got something a little better, huh?
I don't know. Oh yeah, it's a little better.
There you go. You're getting there.
Yeah, it's
Still not keepable. Yep,
We're
let
getting there.
that one go. But you're coming up. Hey, I'm going to show you guys exactly how we're walking these baits down river. It's totally different cadence versus obviously the glide bait like the shiver minnow versus using the jig here. I got a Google Eye, got the Google Eye Gold on here, basically using shiners and no stinger hook at all, and trying to get that hook placement as far back as I can. What I'm going to do here, basically, current's going down this way, okay? So what I'm doing, and I'm in about 22 feet of water, and this one I've just got mono on, which is okay. On the shiver minnows, I've got, there you go, Scott's got one. I've got super braid. So what I do here, good job, Scott, let's get that one in. Another good one. Oh, there you go. That's it. Yeah, nice job. Ha, perfect. So now I just hit the bottom, okay? So what I'll do is I'm actually feathering that. See what I'm doing? I've got my bail open on the reel here, and basically I'm hitting the bottom, hitting the bottom, hitting the bottom, pause it for a second, nothing, hitting the bottom, hitting the bottom. Now I want to walk that jig down stream, down current. And what happens a lot of times, there's fish looking at the bait right now, but they don't want to hit it. But what'll happen once it slides past them, it gets them aggressive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my bail up, I'm going to let out about a foot and a half of line. I'm going to pump it real hard, and that it's a light enough jig where it's going to slip down current. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pump it about 5 to 10 times in that position where it's at right now. Nothing. What I'm going to do is open the bail up again, let out another foot of line, foot and a half, and I'm going to walk that jig down river again. And I'm going to keep doing that till that all of a sudden I'll get to the point where it'll flatten out, where you won't be able to walk it any farther. Oh, there was a fish. Hit it. Missed it. And then what I'll do is I'll just wind up, reset, and usually the first or second time, once it resets itself, that's when you're going to get bit. Most of the time, if I don't get bit and I've got that much line out, I'll move to another hole. This time of year, early in the morning and in the evening, these fish move up really shallow. You can get them in 3 to 6, 8 feet of water. These fish definitely love these deeper holes. So if you can find a hole, anything that's deeper than 15 feet, that's typically where these fish are going to set up. Again, you know, the big thing about a river versus a lake, you got to remember, you know, to be very, very cautious, you know, because if you do fall in, that current's, that current's going to grab you and sweep you, and you'll be long gone. Hey, the key is always to try to get that placement as far back as you can. That's the nice part about these jigs too, these Google Eyes, that they have a long shank on them like that. So I'm going to show you guys a couple different ways that you can hook your minnow. When you're missing fish after fish after fish, you know, there is certain times you got to use a stinger hook. I'm just not a big fan of it, but here's the key. You know what? A lot of times what happens, and the reason I don't like to use a stinger hook, is because so many times, especially when you're jigging, obviously the water is as cold as it can possibly get, especially when you're doing a jig and a minnow. and they'll come up and just mouth it. When they go to mouth it like that, what's going to happen is they're going to mouth down on it and they're going to feel that metal like that. And so many times that they're going to back off of it. Now here's two different ways that you can hook your minnow so you don't have to use a stinger hook. You know, I always squeeze them by the eye, go through the mouth, try to get that placement as far back as you can get it. And the nice part about like this Google Eye jig too, with the long shank on it, this is basically for plastics to keep the plastics from sliding, but it also helps on the minnows too. That's gonna keep that minnow from sliding back, and you're gonna keep your placement as far back as you possibly can. You know, when you do get hit, sometimes it's good just to give them that split second when you feel that weight on there for them to advance and get up on the hook farther. Here's the other way. Go through the mouth, go through the gill plate, right? This is a great way to do it. Twist the minnow to the side right here. Just give it the old twist, right? And get your placement right through the belly. And then basically what you want to do is straighten that minnow. You always want to try to keep it as natural presentation as you can. Georgie's got one. There you go, George. Looks like a good fish. Come on, George. Nope. Hey, it's kind of nice, you know what, again, you know what, we're always moving. You know, this is our third spot that we've moved to so far here. And right away this morning, the bite was pretty good, and we caught a lot of fish on the Google Eye jigs. And then about 9 o'clock, boy, it was tough to get a bite on a jig and a minnow. We kind of switched all into shiver minnows, glide baits like that, and they were just absolutely cracking them. Now it's kind of gone back. It's about almost noon now. George is catching them now. He's got another one on over there, and he's catching them basically again back to the jig and the minnow. So we're fishing anywhere from about 12 down to about 22, 24 foot, trying to stay in some of that deeper water, especially during the day. You know, again, early morning, them fish push up on them sand flats like that. You know, they'll be in anywhere from 4 to 6 to 8 feet of water, and again in the evening. I think most rivers, especially when you get a lot of current or a lot of water in the fall, most of the time most rivers are going to hold lots of walleyes. You know, the whole thing is it's all about the safety, you know, issue here. And so, you know, when you get these milder winters, obviously there's a lot more chances, a lot more thin ice. So, you know, having the right transportation to get around definitely makes a big difference. And again, going back to the airboat, you know, it's a huge investment. Years ago, hardly anybody in this part of the state ever had an airboat except for our sheriff's departments. And you know what? I hate to ever call them and bother them guys. They got more important things to worry about than me. But if you are going to venture out on the river, make sure that you're always with somebody else. Make sure that you always have a life cushion, at least 50 foot of rope, and be prepared for the worst and expect the best.
It's almost like the days when you had a Harley and you were waving to the guy on a bike. You see another warrior on the water, you just get a good feel.
First class, all the way from the people that ride them to the people that make them.
They do such a nice job with communication. They'll pick up the phone anytime. It's really almost a friendship.
You could be in any state, and when somebody with a Warrior drives by you, you get that honk, that beep. You're truly part of a family, and there's nothing like it.
Introducing Forever Barnwood. Transform your space with the warmth and character of a genuine barnwood look. Forever Barnwood offers over 200 authentic barnwood products. We are commercial and food safe. Our products are available in unlimited quantities while still providing the consistency you need to complete large projects. All of this while still looking like it came out of a 100-year-old barn. Forever Barnwood. Bring the history inside.
I've been fishing. Well, I started well over 10 years ago, and I called up Larry and I asked to come up and go fishing. And after that, what happened? He got busy, so he ended up hooking me up with Lance. And so we've been fishing. I've been fishing with Larry and Lance for, well over 10 years now. But during one of those trips, we were ice fishing, and I met Scott over there. He was with one of his buddies, and I was on a different jack, and Lance ended up taking us both out one time. And since then, Scott and I have been fishing together with Lance and Larry for the last 10 plus years, about 10 years.
Well, I'll tell you, it's not any different than any other time we fished with the old GQ George here, you know. Scott, you definitely did well, but I'll tell you what, George came on strong at the end and just put a whaling on them fish. You know, it's kind of funny because you guys went down to scout another spot out, and I left my phone obviously in the truck. George never called you guys at all when he was like catching them about every 3-4 minutes over there. Any special reason for that, George?
It only lasted 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, boy, that was the longest 10 minutes that I can ever remember. Hey everybody, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's show, and I hope you learned something. And if you guys are looking at doing something different, a new experience, make sure you give our good friend Lightning Lance a call, and we'll take you out and do some airboat trips. Hey, we're also fishing the whole month of March up in Oconto, and for trophy walleyes, and I'll tell you, that is a lot of fun. If you're looking for that fish of a lifetime, it's a great time to do it. Anywhere from March 3rd until the ice goes out, we'll be up there doing it.
Every day.
Lance, tell them how they can get a hold of you.
Give me a shout at 920-410-9920. If we don't answer, leave a voicemail. We'll get back to you when we get off the water.
Sounds good. Hey, everybody, like we do each and every week, it's so important that we give special thanks to all of our military men and women for the great service they have given this country and continue to give this country. You know, along with all of our firefighters, paramedics, and no doubt all of our law enforcement agents. Hey, it is a great day to be alive, you guys. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys and gals again next week. Hey everybody, it is our Leroy lunchtime, and sometimes lunch can be at the end of the day. What an awesome day on the water, and I can't think of a better way to end it. Hey, when it comes to brats or any kind of great quality food, you definitely got to check out Leroy Meats. Today I got the Italians and the Philly cheesesteak. I'm going to cook up our brats here and send them guys on their way with a nice full and happy stomach. Whoosh! Them babies are ready to rock and roll. Hey, again, if you guys are looking for quality food, I'll tell you what, you got to check out our good friends at Leroy Meats in Fox Lake and in Horicon. Yesterday, we ended up taking a whole trailer out there just for George's tackle. And that typically is what happens, right? You know what? Don't forget, ladies, he's still single, right? There's an opportunity there. You know what? He'll definitely provide the fish for the family, right? He lives on the lake. You know, he's got a lot going for him, you know? So any single ladies out there, hey, his number is 920-410-9920. Hey, Lance, what do you say?
This thing's going to be nice, Larry.
Yeah, it's going to be nice.
Doesn't matter what Mother Nature brings to us.
Right?
As long as we can stand on it. If I can stand on it, everybody's good to go.
Yeah, it is good. He's always talking about women, Mother Nature. Yeah, I didn't say anything. What the heck are you talking about?